Today, we're talking about how to use one of my favorite platforms, Poppy AI, to write your signature talk. Let's talk about what a signature talk is, and then I'll take you inside of Poppy. A signature talk is your framework, your story, the one story that you're going to share over and over again to different audiences around the world about you, your brand, your business, and your impact. And what's so great about having a signature talk is not just the fact that you get to create it once and do it over again, which means that you become amazing at it. I often use it as an example of the Beyonce method, right? Beyonce comes up with a great album and puts it out and goes to tour in London and Paris and Los Angeles and New York. And we all get that beautiful, beautiful experience because she has got it down. So that is one of the perks of having a signature talk. The other perk is that it helps you build out your personal brand so that you build know, like, and trust with your clients and customers, and you get seen as an expert in your field and as a key influencer to those topics. So when I first got it started as a public speaker, one of the main topics that I spent years speaking about was LGBT inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and its impact on folks like me who have similar identities. So I wrote a book about it called Sir. I have a documentary called The Boy Doc. Like, when you have that signature talk or framework, you can take it so many different places. We made merch. We created so many different things based off of one poem, one talk called Boy, that stands for Born Obviously Incredible. So today we're going to build out a Poppy board and see if we can put together a signature talk for where I'm at now in life. So we're going to use a few different tools to do that. And I'm excited to teach you how to use this amazing tool so that you can continue to grow your business and grow your impact. So let's go on the inside of Poppy so you can see how it's set up. And then I'm going to take you through how to build out this particular board and framework. So we're on the inside of Poppy. And as you can see, this is Poppy's amazing CEO here giving us a talk on how to utilize Poppy. And what I love about this AI tool is the fact that it is AI tool that you can utilize and you can utilize so many assets, but I love the customer service and experience with Poppy. I was actually on a call recently where they were walking through some of the new features, and I just love how transparent they are about their growth. So the way that Poppy works is based off of boards. So you're going to build out a board full of assets depending on what problem you're trying to solve, and then you're going to utilize that board to continue to grow your answers and outcomes for that problem that you're solving. So for today, we're looking at how do we build a signature talk for myself, Evolve Benton, and I have a few prompts that I'm going to utilize for that. So a few things I want you to know is that anytime you want to create a board on Poppy, you go over here to create a new board, and it'll help you do that. But you can also organize your boards, if you see here on the left-hand side, into folders if you want to. And then the other thing with Poppy is that they have a great affiliate program. So I will put my link there where I will refer you and you'll get $25 off of Poppy. And then I will earn an additional income if you support me and this channel and also just want to check Poppy out. So they have that once you join. So you can also utilize it in your strategy as well as an affiliate marketer. So let's go here. We're going to do a new board. And now that we have a new board, the first thing we want to do is organize. So we want to name it. So we're going to name this board here on the left-hand side, Evolve Benton Signature Talk. And then we're going to create a folder. And the reason I like to create a folder is I like to think about organizing the content first, especially when it comes to Poppy, so that I can see everything and can really put myself in the best position to create a great board and get the best results. So I've created a group here, and I'm going to rename this group, and this is going to be Evolve Benton Story. Or storyboard, right? Because I'm putting a bunch of information here about me so that when I start to ask Poppy questions, it could pull from here. And that's the great thing about Poppy. You can pull this in so many different ways. And I want to show you a few of those different ways. So one of the first ways you can do is you can have conversations with Poppy through AI chat. If you can see here on the left-hand side, I'll just go through each of these toolbars so that you can have an understanding of how to use them and even start to think of some creativity for yourself as you think about utilizing Poppy. Let me move myself around just a little bit so you can see the board fully. Okay, great. So I position myself in a better way so you can see the full board, but let's go through some of the tools here on Poppy so that you can see those, and then I will show you how to create your signature talk with it, right? So let's go through. So first tool here is AI chat. This is how we're going to speak into Poppy. You also have a guide here you can watch on it. Next is social media content. So we can bring in some of my YouTube videos, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, or Facebook ads in order to pull from that as well. The next one here is recording. So if I wanted to record and just speak into Poppy, I could to say, I want to know more about, here's a little bit more about who I am, and maybe we'll use that tool today as well. You can also bring in images if you have images. I can bring in text. I could bring in my own website. I could do a little mind mapping, and then I also can bring in documents. And then we could also set it up in groups to organize it. So what I'm going to bring in are just a few things first. I'm going to actually bring in my website. And this is my website here. So I'm just going to grab the link to my website and put it over here in Poppy. The great thing about Poppy is you can just really copy and paste things into it. So my website is there. It's loading. I'm bringing that in. I'm going to also bring in my LinkedIn profile because I just put a lot of amazing content on my LinkedIn profile, and I want to see what Poppy can pull from there as well. So I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to copy and paste that in here as well. Damn. So it's copy and pasting my website into there. And then I want to bring in also some of the media assets that I have shared my story on. So I'm going to bring in a few YouTube videos. I'm actually going to bring in first my speaker's reel, which is great because this is already a bunch of talks that I've done put together that I think could help Poppy think about my signature talk as well. And then I am also going to bring in my resume, which I think would be great. So we've copy and pasted most things into Poppy. I want to show you how we can put an actual document in here as well. You can see it takes a little bit of time just to load, but once it's in there, it's in there. Website pages, sometimes they don't pull the whole website, so we might have to go back in the website and get a
walking. And many of you might know where you're going to be planted.
My website. So we'll see if we'll do that, but we're just going to go with this for now. I want to bring in my resume. So you could drop a file here, or you can find a file and bring it in. So I'm going to actually bring in my SDR resume because I really want my next signature talk to be about my sales experience, not about my DEI experience. So SDR stands for Sales Development Rep. And what I've been studying is tech sales. And I'm actually currently wrapping up a certificate with a company called Course Careers, where they teach you how to get into tech sales. So if you're interested in that, I'll put the link to that in the description if you're interested in sales. And I'll also be sharing on this channel a little bit more about that experience so that you can check that out as well. So I'm bringing in my resume, but not just a general resume. This resume particularly talks about my experience with sales. And my LinkedIn is set up in that particular way as well. These are just more like my foundational stories, and it does have a little DEI, but I'm interested to see what it will pull. So we bought that information in. So this board right here is all about me. This is all about Evolve. Now I want to create a board that can be, and we'll go out a little bit so you can see this here. Now I want to create a board that could be about the crafting of a signature talk, right? Like signature talk framework, like when we say signature talk, what do we mean? So I want to put a few things there so that Poppy knows exactly, because there's so many ways to look at a signature talk. but there are some great frameworks out there that we can use. So this box here, this group here is going to be all about our signature talk framework. And what I'm going to do is just do some searching for this, right? Like this is where research really comes in as an entrepreneur and as a business owner to see what's already out there. And then I do have a few things as well that I can use from being a public speaking coach, but why not use the frameworks that are already out there and folks who have already created some amazing assets for us and put so much work into it. We're going to go over to here on YouTube, and you can see I've put a few things up about Signature Talk. So here's one. This is where I talk a little bit about the Signature Talk framework. So I'm going to grab this and actually put this in the Poppy. I think this could be a great one to add. And then I've created my own Signature Talk workbook that I'll put in here as well. If you want access to anything on writing your own signature talk in this framework, I actually have it in my community, the Profitable Speaker Circle. So I can give that to you. So here is a Google Doc that I created around the signature talk framework. And I break down what is the signature talk, the signature talk structure, how to make it personal and engage your audience, practice, and all of that. So I'm just going to grab this and download it into PDF form. And then I am going to actually put this into Poppy because this is my key framework on how I believe you should build out a signature talk. So now we're going to bring this over. I'm going to drop that file here. And then we're going to put this in the Poppy. So now we have an understanding of when we talk about signature talk, what we mean by that. So we've built out a couple of boards here. We got one board, which is all about my story. We have another board here, which is about the signature talk framework. And then we're going to build out one more board. And this is going to be actual speeches that we like, right? So, if we want our speech to have a particular tone or similarity to other speakers that are really successful, we can utilize this board. So we won't utilize this board in the beginning. We'll probably bring this board in later on once we have the speech written to see if we can pull some of the frameworks from here. So popular or talks that I enjoy, right? And it's just a few of them. I'm going to actually grab one of mine, which is a talk that I did at S4P Live, which was dope. So if I put in Evolve Benton, Abundance, I believe it'll come up. There we go. So I did a talk on how to increase your business revenue at Speaking for Profit Live. So I'm going to use that as well. I'm actually going to put that in two places on Poppy to organize it. So we go back over here to Poppy. I'm going to put it in here, right, as some talks that I enjoy. I'm also going to add it up here as my storyboard. So we're going to put it in both places. And you'll see why we're doing this later on, but this is just great for us to get started. So now that we've done that, I'm going to go back over here. And there's a few talks that I like. Like, I really appreciate Eric Thomas. I like this one. And then another person that I just think is a great storyteller is Oprah Winfrey. Let's see if we put Signature Talk Oprah if she has one. So many different talks that she's done. Okay, so I don't see a lot of it. So what we'll do is just do Oprah's speech. Yep. Focus on yourself. So we'll do that. So let's go back over here to Poppy. So as you can see, we have these three groups set up for Poppy. And I have one that is all about my storyboard, a signature talk framework, and also speeches that I like. And if we zoom in, you can see those a little bit more of the titles that I've put there to organize it. But for the sake of writing a signature talk, we're just going to use my storyboard and this signature talk framework. So we're going to connect it here because we don't want Poppy to pull Oprah's and ET's story. We just want my story and what I believe the signature talk framework is for the beginning of this prompt. Now, once we are thinking about the tone of the speech and all of that, we'll bring in some of my favorite speeches at the end of it. I'm going to take a moment to interrupt this video to tell you about something that I am so excited about. I had the opportunity to join Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens in one of their most phenomenal projects, which is School. On School, I have a community that will teach you how to create, monetize, and deliver your signature talk. A signature talk, I want you to think about it this way. It's like the Beyonce method. Beyonce comes out with one album that we all love, and she commits to doing it around the world, and she goes on tours. She does a great job. I want that for you. I want you to be able to create a signature talk that you can deliver thousands of times and get paid to do it. So if you're a public speaker, a consultant, and you know you have a message that can change the world, this is a gift for you. The Profitable Speaker Circle. This is a space with the most diverse speakers from around the world, learning together, supporting one another, and getting on stages and in boardrooms around the world. So click the link in the description. It will take you right over to our school community, and you can get started with that course. Within that community, we also have two other aspects. One, you'll be able to become an affiliate. So if you have other folks out in the world who you know who are public speakers who need to work on their signature talks, get on more stages, you can invite them as well, and we're going to give you a kickback. The other thing is, beyond just the training on your signature talk, we have a 5-day challenge, and we have a monthly live space where you can share your speech. So join the Profitable Speaker Circle, click the link below, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. All right, peace. So let's start off with some prompts. And what I'll do is I'll include these prompts in the video for folks who are watching, who are part of the Speaking for Profit Circle, or Speaking for Profit Academy. I will include these prompts in our group and in our community so you can have access to them. So one of the first prompts that we're going to put here, and let me zoom in so you can see this. Help me identify the one transformative idea or experience from my life that could serve as a foundation for my signature talk. This is going to be based off of this information. So they're giving me a few different experiences that I could talk about as my foundation. The ideas that Poppy has given me, which are really good, your core transformative experiences. So it could be the Hurricane Katrina rebuild experience from Speaking for Profit content. You mentioned how Hurricane Katrina hit your university, Dillon University. You literally had to rebuild the campus. The experience is talking about manifesting abundant pathways during crisis. So this is about the talk I did at S4P Live. And literally, for folks who don't know, I went to college during Hurricane Katrina. So this is so relevant to my life. My COVID-19 pivot. And this is how I started my company during COVID-19 and realized all of that. My identity as a Black trans masculine center person, which is more about like my DEI experience. And then they're also breaking down the foundation of a signature talk and how I could write it as well. And then they're giving me some questions to think about as I implement it. So which of these experiences still give you the strongest emotional response? What specific lessons from your rebuild experience do people ask about most often? When you do think about your generational healer identity, what's the one story that best illustrates this transformation? So I could technically take these and speak into them and probably get some more information from Poppy. But let's take it a little bit deeper. Let's see if we can bring out more through more prompting, because that's all, when we're using AI, that's all it's about is great prompts. So let's take it a little bit deeper. So let's ask it another question. What's the specific problem my audience faces that I'm uniquely positioned to solve through my talk? Okay, so here it's saying the specific problem you're uniquely positioned to solve. It says the problem: crisis paralysis in leadership transition. Your audience, whether corporate leaders, entrepreneurs, organizational change makers, get stuck in survival mode during major transitions instead of recognizing these moments as strategic rebuilding opportunities. So the 3-layer problem, right? And they're giving me a way to talk about this and be a problem solver. So immediate crisis response, identity and authentic conflict, abundance mindset breakdown. And it says why you're uniquely positioned to solve this problem: lift crisis leadership, right? My rebuild during Hurricane Katrina, strategic business acumen, protecting my income during COVID-19, authentic identity navigation, me succeeding as a Black trans leader in traditional spaces, proven abundance creation, the money that I've made in my business, and then my signature talk framework, right? And how I can build that in. Okay. So it's your audience specific pain points. And then it's talking about corporate leaders. How do I lead through organizational change? Entrepreneurs, how to pivot my business while starting from scratch? DEI organizational leaders, how do I achieve inclusion? So this is really good, y'all. And then it even gives me, look at here, it even gives me a unique value proposition. I teach leaders how to transform, break down moments into breakthrough opportunities by rebuilding strategically while staying authentically aligned, because I've done it through Hurricane Katrina, COVID-19, and navigating corporate America as a Black trans leader. So the urgency factor: in today's volatile business environment, leaders who can navigate crisis strategically don't survive poorly. They miss the biggest growth opportunities. Our audience needs this skill now. So this is great, y'all. So this is telling me why my talk would potentially matter, which is great, because for some of us, I know it's building a confidence, right? Like having a confidence to realize that your talk matters to the industry that you want to speak to. So this is great. So let's pull another prompt, and then after this prompt, we'll get more into actually writing out the talk, some questions that'll help us write it out. But this is great to just take a deep dive into how you can use this to really build out your signature talk as a signature framework too. So now these questions were just about my core message and purpose. Now we're going to go into prompts that are about story development. This is really dope, y'all. I hope that you're enjoying this and this is helpful for you as you think about growing your business. Hopefully you're maybe even using this as a tutorial with Poppy to write out your signature talk. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down, just go on and like and subscribe to this channel, because we'll continue to do tutorials just like this one. So the next prompt that we're going to put in here is: help me craft a compelling opening story that immediately hooks my audience and connects with my main message. So now we're talking about the opening of our signature talk, and we'll see what they give us. All right, so it says the opening here is the 50K lesson in a pile of rubble. Interesting. So here's the opening. I was standing in what used to be my dorm room at Dillon University, holding a sledgehammer, and all I can think was, they're paying me to destroy my own home. Hurricane Katrina had just ripped through New Orleans. My HBCU, the place that was supposed to launch my future, looked like a war zone. Walls were molting. Everything smelled like death and mold, and the administration handed us sledgehammers that said, if you want your school back, you're going to have to rebuild it yourself. Now, I could have transferred. Most of my friends did. I could have seen this as the end of my college experience. But something clicked for me in that moment, standing in that rubble. I realized that people who rebuild during the breakdown don't just survive, they get to design what comes next. That sledgehammer moment taught me a 50K lesson, literally, because years later, when COVID-19 hit and every speaker I knew was losing their income, I was the one getting paid. While others were panicking, I was building Speaking for Profit University. While the industry was breaking down, I was raking through multiple six figures. The difference: I learned how to rebuild strategically instead of just survive desperately. And today, I'm going to teach you how to turn your breakdown moments into the biggest breakthrough opportunities. Yeah. When I tell you this is good, this is good. Right? It's bringing in the past and the present. It's connecting that experience with my past self and dealing with Katrina and going through the COVID pandemic. It's connecting it to business. It's such a good opening, right? And it's also giving us some pace, right? Some where to pause, leaning in, lowering my voice, pause, then have energy, having direct eye contact with the audience. So this is a really good opening. This is a really solid opening for here. Okay, so now that we've got this, let's just take it down a little bit deeper, y'all, a little bit deeper. And then I'm going to show you, we'll close this training with bringing in the group of speeches that I like to see if that'll change the tone of this. But I really like this opening so far. So now we're going to get into content structure. So this next question is going to be about the content. Okay, so this next prompt is help me create a clear 3-part framework for my talk that makes my insights actionable for the audience. Still getting into content. So here it's part 1, recognize the rebuild opportunity. Crisis isn't your enemy, it's your architect. The core insight, most leaders see crisis as something to survive. Strategic builders see it as a chance to design what comes next. Action steps. The rubble assessment. When crisis hits, ask yourself, what system structures were already broken that crisis just exposed? The opportunity audit. Identify 3 things you can now change that couldn't change before the crisis. 3, the future vision. Write down what you want your rebuilt version to look like in 12 months. Your story connection. Hurricane Katrina didn't destroy your education and revealed that old dorm structure wasn't serving students. The rebuild create better facilities. This is really cool. So this is breaking it down into like a framework and using like the rebuild and the construction as a part of it. This one says part 2, insulate your foundation. Protect what matters while you rebuild everything else. The core insight. Strategic rebuilders build their core assets, values, key relationships, revenue stream while everything else is in flux. So, and then it gives the action steps as well and the story connection. So this is great. This is like what we could use in the talk, but also this is information that we could use as content if we were going to turn that talk into a half-day workshop or into our own IP, right? We could use it for that as well. Licensing out a course, we could really narrow down into this. So now let's get back to the talk, right? Like this is taking us off a little bit, but it's still exciting. We want to get into the actual signature talk. So I'm gonna feed into it and say, this is great, right? Help me write a signature, a completed signature talk script based on this information. I just want them to help me write the talk from beginning to end and see what we get. Right, so starting off with that powerful opening that they gave me before. And I'll read this to y'all so y'all can hear it and see what it sounds like just as a talk. This is just a first draft too. I would always, anytime you're using AI, you want to make sure that you go in and you edit and you bring your voice into it. But what's great about this is it's going to pull and sound like me because we've added so much content from my voice into Poppy. This is pretty long, y'all, so I might not read the whole thing. I don't want to bore y'all, but I will read most of it so that you can hear what it's given us, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. It'll take me this is probably like a 20-minute talk. And I aim for brevity when it comes to these trainings. So let's start here. We're not going to do the opening again because y'all heard the opening. So this is picking up from the opening. That sledgehammer moment taught me a lesson worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally, because years later, when COVID-19 hit and every speaker I knew was losing their income, I was the one getting paid. While others were panicking, I was building Speaking for Profit University, While the industry was breaking down, I was breaking through multiple six figures. The difference, I learned how to rebuild strategically instead of just survive desperately. How many of you right now are facing some kind of breakdown moment? Maybe it's organizational restructuring, market disruption, team turnover, or personal transition. Raise your hand if you're in the middle of something that feels like it's breaking you down. Keep those hands up. Look around. You're not alone. And here's what I want you to know. Those breakdown moments, they're not your enemy. They're your architect. Today, I'm going to teach you the RISE method, how to turn your breakdown moment into your biggest breakthrough opportunities. By the time we're done, you'll have a framework that transforms crisis into competitive advantage. Let's start with the R. Recognize the rebuild opportunity, because crisis isn't your enemy, it's your architect. Back in the demolished dorm room, I had a choice. I could see Hurricane Katrina as the thing that destroyed my college experience, or I could see it as the thing that gave me permission to build something better. See, that old dorm, it was falling apart. The plumbing was terrible, the heating didn't work, and honestly, it wasn't serving students well. But nobody was going to tear it down and rebuild it until Mother Nature forced the issue. How many of you have systems in your organization or your life that are barely functioning, but you keep them because change feels too risky? Yeah, I see those nods. Here's what I learned. Crisis doesn't create problems. It reveals them. And once they're revealed, you finally have permission to fix them. When COVID-19 hit in 2020, I watched speaker after speaker lose their entire income overnight. Because you know what? Most of them were already operating on shaky ground. No contracts protecting their time, no diversified revenue streams, no systems for virtual delivery. COVID didn't destroy their business. It exposed their business were already vulnerable. But here's the beautiful part. Once you recognize the crisis is revealing broken systems, you can start designing better ones. So the first step in the RISE method is rubble assessment. When crisis hits, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what systems were already broken that crisis just exposed? So y'all, it goes deep, right? It takes us in the center. It gives us a part two. It really gives us a great speech that we can start with. So now that we have this, right, as our framework, finally, we want to just bring this in, and we could take this out, rewrite it, bring it back into Poppy. But we're going to bring in these speeches that we really enjoy. And we're actually going to take out my speech because it's kind of already pulled from there. And I wanted to really focus on the pace of these speakers, of Oprah and of E.T., right? So I'm actually going to take these parts out so we could just pull from here. So I'm going to say, based on talks that I enjoy, take the storytelling element, tone usage, and pace to rewrite this speech. All right, so now we're just, if you can see here, we're just pulling, y'all. We're just pulling from this. What we've done is, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. What we've done is we've taken out of these other groups. So now we're just pulling from this one. This is so cool, y'all. I hope that y'all invest in Poppy because it's a game changer when it comes to building out your signature talk. It's really been helpful, and I'm excited to share this finished product, y'all, when I get it together. It's funny because I could hear this in E.T.'s language. So I love that it's pulling it in this way. And I could hear some of this in Oprah's tone as well. So look at this, y'all. Because this is something that E.T. starts with. Y'all, let me tell you something. Right, that is very much like a way E.T. would lead with his speech, right? So here's the difference, right? I'll read this opening for you. Says, y'all, let me tell you something. I was standing in what used to be my dorm room at Dillon University holding a sledgehammer, and all I could think was, they really got me out here destroying my own home, and they paying me to do it. Hurricane Katrina just ripped through New Orleans like she was mad at the whole city. My HBCU, the place that was supposed to launch my future, looked like a war zone. I am talking walls molting, everything smelling like death and disappointment. And the administration had the audacity to hand us sledgehammers and say, if y'all want your school back, you're going to have to rebuild it yourself. Now, I could have transferred. Most of my friends did. Packed up their dreams and their disappointment and went somewhere that didn't require them to swing a hammer to get an education. I could have seen this as the end of my college experience. But something clicked for me in that moment, standing in that rubble with that sledgehammer in my hand. I realized that the people who rebuild during the breakdown don't just survive, they get to design what comes next. So it's also telling me, like, here, voice raising with energy. And ET, as we know, if you followed Eric Thomas, gets really loud, right? So it's telling me the time to get loud here. So here I would get louder. It's also telling me to move closer to the audience, acknowledge hands, voice getting passionate. So it's bringing in more hand gestures. It's bringing in me increasing my vocal capacity and getting louder, because that is what ET would do. But the words are very similar. So it hasn't really changed the words. It's more changed to the tone and the way that I would deliver the speech. So that's why it's great to have this aspect. So Poppy AI is beautiful, y'all. I'm going to continue to work on this and work on the signature talk. This is something I want to put together for a TED Talk probably in the next 6 months to a year. But I want you to take this as well. I want you to take this method. I want you to take Poppy. And I want you to figure out how to utilize it to write your signature talk as well, because I think it could be really powerful. So remember what we did. Break this down into a few steps so it could be a little bit easier for you. First step is we gathered all of the information that we needed. We gathered all the information we needed based on ourselves. So if you have past podcast interviews, if you have already have a signature talk or speech, if you have a website, your LinkedIn, if you use Talkadot and you have your Talkadot profile, anything that could bring in information about who you are, you want to put that into one group. So that's what we did first. The second thing that we did is once we built out that group, our storyboard, who we were, we went in and we created a framework around the signature talk. And what I added there was just my signature talk workbook that is amazing. That's in the Profitable Speaker Circle. And I also included a video where I talk a little bit about the framework so that it could pull from there as well. That was our second group. The third group was all about tone and presentation and how we wanted the speech to be communicated. And that was put into a third group. And that's where we had Eric Thomas and Oprah Winfrey. Then we went in, we took the first two groups. We really put in some prompts to build out what is the core focus and purpose of our talk. And then we put in prompts that could help us build out the content, like what is the particular content that we want to share. And then we digged a little bit deeper and asked them to rewrite that content in the tone and the flow based off of the speeches that Oprah and ET had done. It gave us something amazing. And I know that you all, heard me just reading it because I don't know the talk yet, as I don't know it yet, right? It's just the beginning of a signature talk. But you should be able to see how this can help you transform your public speaking business and grow it moving forward. So if this was helpful, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Do me a favor, put in the comments, how do you plan on implementing this? Are you going to go on and grab Poppy and get it and enjoy it? Are you going to join the Profitable Speaker Circle? Are you going to implement this today so that you can get on your next stage? Tell me what you're planning to do with this information, because information is great, but if you don't implement, it's not going to take you anywhere. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for using your most valuable resource with me, which is your time. And until next time, peace.